You are now listening to the Fierce Kingz podcast.
All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we did it. The Fierce Kingz have finally made it to episode 10. I can't believe we didn't quit. In fact, it's only more and more motivation. My name is Paul. He is Stu, together with the Fierce Kingz, and you are now listening to the Fierce Kingz podcast. Stu, what it do, a baby?
You tell me, buddy. How was your week?
It's Groundhog's Day, so I can't believe that the weekend's coming up already, which is just like shocking. Like we just had the weekend, but it's all good. I did do one thing that was kind of a nice little tasty treat, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I had a bank appointment. When was the last time you had a bank appointment? You know what I mean?
When was the last time anybody had a bank appointment? Is this like 1965? You're like opening up a branch down at the local, strip? Like,
yeah.
What kind of bank account, what kind of bank appointment do you need in this day and age? Like, why would you have to go in person to see a teller or a clerk or a manager or whatever in this day and age?
Basically, I just don't have a savings account. And if you go online and they're like, hey, once you open, you have to go through this huge process. They're taking pictures of your driver's license. So I just called up my G from the bank down the street. And I was just like, doggy, can you hook me up? He's like, yeah, come through 3 p.m. So I dress up all crispy. I put on real pants, not leisure attire. Mm-hmm. I put on a button-up shirt, even gave myself a quick comb. You know what I mean? I was almost like nervous. It's kind of fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
During COVID, you don't see people. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this up. Go see him. And the funniest thing happened. He was like so excited to see me. It's almost like this whole COVID thing has just been like, we're like yearning for contact of any sorts, even if it's like a client.
Well, and vice versa too, right? Like you were just absolutely stoked to see this guy. You got in your best jeans and in your full on business casual garb.
Oh yeah.
In order to go and rap with this guy for a little bit.
Yeah, and it was sick. He was like telling me about his like personal life and what he did on the weekend, and then he's like giving me some like inside stock tips and like in some of his investment. And I'm taking notes, and then he just set up the savings account. Took like 20 minutes, but it was booked for 60 minutes, right? And we just chilled for another 40 minutes. I'm like, well, listen, this hour was a write off for me.
Yeah,
and it just gets me thinking like, COVID's like, people are opening up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing people open up more. Like you might be on a call with someone from work and like suddenly they're telling you about their life more,
Well, do you think that these type of businesses are making these now, or at least the things that are allowed to be open, are making appointments now in order to have companionship? Like this guy was literally like going through his Rolodex or going through his itinerary for the day.
I got nothing. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, first of all, I've got nothing. Second of all, he's like, okay, opening a savings account probably takes about 35 seconds, a couple taps here and there, and then, maybe double check this guy's license to make sure it is who it is.
Yeah.
But then this guy tells you, because he hasn't seen human beings for months, he's like, oh yeah, that'll be about an hour.
Yeah.
And then you stroll up. He kind of takes his leisure time. You guys are shooting the breeze a little bit. And then eventually he's like, all right, like, I'll cut through the shit here. Let's just kick it. Like, I need a friend, man.
The rapport is the majority of the meeting. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, hey, how was your weekend? It's just like, no. Like, that was the 80% of the discussion. Just like, yeah, so what's going on in your personal life? I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess fuck it. Like, I'll just tell you what's up. So it's just interesting, man. Like, and I opened up too. I was just like, oh, that's so great. How's your family back home and wherever, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's a crazy time.
Well, it's definitely it's definitely in a position where you're already super duper personal, right? Like when with the bank, and in particular, if you're like the bank, and in particular, if you have like a financial advisor or this, sort of financial manager. This guy really knows all of your personal stuff already. Like he's aware of what you make, how you save, where you spend, who's your spouse, you know, where you live, all this stuff. So like, why not tell him like, oh, this happened to me on the weekend? Because at the end of the day, this guy's like, I know everything about you, man. So if you try and fucking lie right now, like I can see through your fucking bullshit.
It must be hilarious too. I bet you people come into the bank, they're like, so I would like to buy a house. And they just pull up the record and they're just like, well, you don't have any money.
Yeah.
And you already owe us $25,000. And in fact, the feds are after you.
Yeah.
So you need to leave.
None of these houses want to be purchased by you.
Yeah, no offense, but that house doesn't want any part of you.
Because because I guess also like, what about cheating? Like cheating on your financial advisor, you know? Like if you go to this guy and he's at the junction, all the time, right? Like a barber or something like that as well. It's like you're at the like junction branch of TD or BMO or whatever it is you are, and then you know you're talking to Frank. And you guys have a good rapport and this and that, and you're sort of opening it up. And then at one point, you know, you're realizing that the advice is poor and it's not working out. And you have to call him up and you have to say, Frank, I'm leaving you. Like, we're through. I've got to go to a new teller.
I guess you just got to find yourself a nice financial advisor who might set up a tax-free savings account for you and your family, and we'll tell you about his week and about his underground, you know, COVID-19 strip club fucking endeavor that he did. And you're fucking set.
Yeah, and then you say to yourself, I know who not to go to.
Exactly.
You are now listening to the Fierce Kingz podcast.
All right. So check this out. Have you ever heard of like PlayStation? Yeah,
I've heard of it.
like the video game console. Well, you know,
Sure.
They released a new one, the PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? And it's like super sold out. It's really hard to get, but I got it. Okay. It was actually really sketchy.
Okay.
I had to buy it off some guy at a gas station that was like inflating the price. And who knows? I don't know if he sold it or something.
Probably gets dangerous out there, right?
Well, dude, I'm not even
like
joking.
people get like robbed for this shit.
I think,
and like beaten up and mugged, and like they see people coming out of what is it, Best Buy or GameStop, or they're doing a curbside pickup, and a guy like rolls up and cracks him with a baton and takes his box.
yeah, it's a curb
stomp pickup.
Yeah, curbside drive-by. Anyways, so like I'm in the gas station and like I'm like hiding from the cameras. I swear to God, if I owned a gun, that was a situation where I was just like, all right, we're doing this shit. We're riding out tonight. Anyways, it turned out okay. It was super sketch. I bet you it happens all the time at local fucking Petro-Canada gas stations at Keel and Bloor. You know what I mean? Anyways.
Yeah.
Besides, I got one. It happened. I got one. It happened. So
okay, well, if you don't mind me asking, like, what did it run you? Like, what do these things cost now? $5,000 or something like that? How expensive?
I think
are
they're like
these things now?
I think they're $400 to $500, but I had to throw in a couple extra, if you know what I mean.
A couple quick hunches.
Had to make this guy's trip from Brampton worth it, man.
Because like I haven't played since PlayStation 1 with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or whatever. So it's like been so long for me, but now these things are like fucking spaceships or something. Like they just, sometimes you see it pop up on Instagram feeds or whatever, and the graphics just basically look like it's like real life or
it's
something
almost
like
too
that.
real. Like in fact, I think if they go one layer more real, like you won't want to play because like, yo, this is fucked up. I didn't sign up for this, right?
Right.
Okay,
that's getting yeah.
Anyways, so I got one, and so I got some friends. They're like, "Hey, man, you want to play on Friday night at 10 p.m.?" I'm like, "Great, it's COVID. I have fuck all to do. This is my one day of the week. I'll do something, away from the wife or anything like that." Okay, cool. Later in the week, hey, we're still on for Friday, right? Absolutely, man. 10 p.m. We're gonna do it up. It's gonna be so sick. Okay, 30 minutes before. Hey, I'm going to be logging on soon. So like, we're cool. We're like, yep. Then 10, 10:15, 10:30. Hey man, where are you? 10:45, 11. Oh man, just fucking something really came up. You know what I mean? And like, let's just do it tomorrow. And I know it's just a video game, dude. And I know it's just like a Friday night in, but it's still a flop. It's a huge bail. And I just hate getting bailed on. And it's just a worse feeling. And haven't you noticed that just bailing has become so easy for people?
Yeah, and I get your point because it
ruined my night.
Well, and it's not just the fact that it's a video game, which, as you said, like, whatever, it's just a fucking video game. But it's the principle of the whole matter, right? Where whether it's a video game, whether it's like, going to the movies or things at work or whatever, it's just like, in this day and age, it seems like people have a free reign to be like, either text you right before, text you after, or supposedly during, and being like, oh, something popped up, can't do it, let's push it, or this and that and the other. And you're like, what the hell, man? Like, not to mention the fact that we know you don't have fuck all to do anyway.
Like, what came up on Friday at 10 p.m. when, no offense, not much happening, right?
A nap.
Yeah, maybe fell asleep and you're like,
he probably fell asleep. There's no other good reason other than self-gratification and a nap that is going to take you away from your prior engagements. Sure. Like, what the fuck else are you supposed to do? If anything, he was probably just playing video games with other people and totally fucking forgot.
Oh, you know what? Maybe that was the case. And
he was video game cheating on
I was cheated on. Forget about bailed on. I didn't get Christian bailed. I got fucking cheated on. And that's
you got Gareth bailed.
Yeah, I got Gareth and Christian bailed. All right. And that's not a good feeling, man.
So then my question to you would be then, what is the consequence? Because, and let me preface it there too, and I'm sure this is like a very close friend or whatever, or maybe an online buddy that you've met and that's how you guys play or whatever. But my thing is, in this day and age, and I think also because as we get older and what the hell is all going on in the world and stuff like that, we tend to get a little bit more like nervous of maybe offending or pushing away friends because you're like, at this particular moment we want everything we can get. But it's like, I think what's happened has been happening for a long time, especially with technology, because you got social medias and obviously the iPads and iPhones and things like that. It's like no one ever gets any retribution. It's just like people are just so inclined to be like, yo, it's all good, homie. Like, we'll do it again tomorrow or whatever. And then you have to go and beg your partner to have another night off where she's like, or whatever. It's like, fuck you. You're going to be sitting down and watching The Desperate Housewives with me, marathon, until 3 a.m, and then you're going to rub my feet.
Y'all ladies and gents listening to this, because this is the realness. This is my life. This is my actual life. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But to answer your question, for me, there's two fucking rules. Okay. The first rule is depends on the person. Okay. It really depends on a person. If they're very sensitive, if they're very emotional, maybe you have to really watch out how you call them out. If they're like, don't have those issues, I'm not holding back whatsoever. At all. And then secondly, it depends on the gravity. Like if someone's like, look, my kid woke up at 10 p.m. and it was a fucking war zone afterwards. My 1-year-old, you know what I mean? Okay, like what do you want me to do? Like you didn't expect it, I didn't expect it. But
yeah.
Have you ever been bailed on like this where you make dinner plans and you're like, great. So I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm barbecuing. I'm going to spend this money. I'm going to prep this salad or whatever it is. I'm going to make this stuff. Can't make it. You're fucking kidding me. And that's when the rage comes in and full meltdown.
Well, any of those sort of like solid sort of engagements for plans that require even more sort of attention and obviously for things like that, like finances and stuff, that's what makes you go over the top. Because if you remember like back in the day when before all this sort of stuff and, we were still in like high school and things like that, maybe even at university and stuff as well, but where you'd be like, yo, you want to go to a movie? Okay, when's the movie? 8:10, Friday or whatever. Yeah, sure, let's go. If the fucking person didn't show up, it was going to be a shitstorm the next time you saw them. Like, you were going to be like, what the fuck, man? I waited out there out front. I paid like $13 to see Dude, Where's My Car or whatever. And I just fucking stood around like an asshole. Then I decided to go in because I didn't want to waste the money. And then I missed the first 12 minutes of it. And it was such an entertaining movie that I missed the whole plot or whatever. And you're like, you're a fucking prick, man. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And like, this is the same thing with this sort of shit. Like, as you said, if this guy has got a newborn who's been wang all night and he has to tend to that and got a fucking hour and a half of sleep, okay, if he gets a nap in because he was catching up, I get it. If dude was just sitting around playing with his pickle and decided to not play FIFA with you and after you had prior engagements, well, that's going to be big trouble, man.
That's a fucking red card, bud.
That's a big red card.
Have you seen somewhat recent photos of Jeff Bezos?
I have not.
So I don't know how old they are, but I'm sure if you just Google search real quick, there's like a picture of him from, I guess, the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. He's got hair. He's like much thinner. He's kind of dorky looking. He's not pudgy, but like softer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then there's like a comparison shot. And it's like, the guy looks like he's out of the Expendables or something. He's got a shaved head, completely perfectly baked. You know, he's wearing nice clothes. He's like taking his glasses off like very, very slowly, like there was an explosion behind him. And he's fucking massive.
Okay.
He's massive. And let me just tell you right now, the guy's definitely on steroids or some kind of test boosters. Okay.
Easily. Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you, if I was to take testosterone right now, right? People would be like, oh, look at this guy. Nice body, but he's juicing. He's a juice head. Look at this fucking juice head. He's cheating, blah, blah, blah. But when you hit your late 40s, early 50s, should we all just be on a couple cycles of juice and just pull a Jeff Bezos?
I mean, I think money has a lot to do with it. Like, where you're kind of like, if this guy, he probably got to a point where he realized that he was like looking like a schlub. And he's like, listen, I'm the fucking richest man in the world, got the world's largest company. Everybody grovels at my feet. I'm just going to go that next level and get all of the potions and powders underneath the sun and look like fucking goddamn Arnold Schwarzenegger and be worth $200 billion or whatever. And you're not really going to flinch because there's nothing you're going to say to this guy, right? Like, you're like, this guy is worth, you know,
he can do whatever he wants.
He could do whatever he wants. He has so much money. He employs so many people, and, you know, there are criticisms as well, but, you know, he has technically done a fair amount of good stuff just in the way, just the scope of this, like, sort of corporation. But I think you get judged about if you do that stuff when you're probably not as successful or definitely not as wealthy. Like, people are going to be like, oh, this guy's juicing. He's got a small wiener, or, you know.
Apparently he's got that donkey dick too.
Well, this is what's an interesting thing about that is that seems surprising because more often than not, it's the reverse effect, right?
Right.
If you've got a small wee, you go make that bread. Because you have to make up for it, and people can generally tell, right? It's no different, as you're saying with the juicing, as somebody pulling up 55 in a fucking Corvette convertible. You're like, small wiener, but
cash.
He's got a bit of cash.
He's got some cash. There are racks involved around this person's life.
Yeah, there are racks and fake racks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Racks on fake racks on fake racks.
Exactly. So that's, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Bezos, I guess, is just looking at it as being just kingpin. As he's like, listen, I'm packing heat downstairs. I'm worth 200 bill. Everybody in the world knows my name.
I'm boosting. I'm test boosting.
That's the least of the criticisms I'm going to get.
Imagine he got a call from his like general practitioner. They're like, listen, you're overdue. Come in on Monday. I need to talk to you. And he's like, is there something about the results? And the doctor's just like, blood levels perfect. Sinuses immaculate. You know what I mean? Colon, like you were 30 years old. but I'm really worried about what's going on in that bicep region. And I'm going to prescribe a nice 3 to 6 cycles of test booster.
Well, no, he just goes into the lab, to the Amazon laboratory, and it's just like,
it's just robots.
Just hit me up with the new update. So what are we at now? We're at iOS 17.1. Okay, I'll take that. In fact, actually get me on the one before, even if there are a couple glitches.
Oh, it's in beta?
And he just gets fucking... Yeah, it's in beta. He's just like Neo in the fucking Matrix, man. They just plug him in and they're like, okay, fucking 40-inch biceps, 12-inch cock,
double
and
donkey
200
dick. Yeah.
200 billion bucks, and he's going.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
Feel the power.
Yeah. Now send me to my drone army. Yeah. He's fucking crazy, man. You know what? Shout out to Jeff Bezos, because he can go to sleep and be like, fucking hell, I really pulled it off, eh?
Does he go to sleep?
Probably not. I bet you he's a half cyborg for sure. And that's what so I'm happy we're talking about this, because this is ultimately, we're talking about body enhancements, right? And so like, if there's anybody, maybe Elon Musk, but for sure Jeff Bezos, there's like a group of 10 that I honestly think are secretly cyborging. If you know what I mean. Like there's machinery on the inside somewhere, microchips, processors. You're talking about, maybe he doesn't have his kombucha in the morning, but he goes and gets that quick update. There's that bug fix. He plugs into the Matrix, like you said. I bet you there's something going on, man. They're thinking they're teetering.
Yeah, he plugs in a micro USB to the back of his heel, and then just ingests a bunch of Soylent, and then he's like, all right, I better go take on the world. Because you know what? To that point, his sort of competitors, or at least sort of peers in that sort of wealth space, like Bill Gates could go for an enhancement. Like this guy's he's a weenie.
Why isn't he enhancing?
Well,
I bet you Microsoft stock would go triple if tomorrow there was like what's it called? What's that stupid, like Hollywood Insider or whatever those trashy magazines are. And there's some paparazzi in the bushes and they just see fucking Bill Gates at Venice Beach just fucking yoked. And maybe he got a fresh tattoo.
I guarantee you will see a direct correlation between the rise in stocks and how jacked the CEO is.
Yeah.
Like if you could see it, I mean, Microsoft's always going to kind of be going up and it has for decades, but it's like, as you said, if he comes out just fully yoked with a tight extra medium shirt on, and he's on the front of People's Magazine, you're gonna frisbee away your MacBook and you're gonna go get whatever product he's
Lenovo
got.
Yeah, you're gonna see him and you'll be like, who is that? They're like, that's Bill Gates, he's the owner of Microsoft. You're like, fuck, I need to upgrade. I need to fucking upgrade to Windows 10 ASAP. In fact, let's get me on a fucking 12-month subscription to Office 365 and I won't even use it.
Yeah, because like if you even like, because even to a mild degree, I think mild degree from the body situation, Musk has done that. But I know for a fact, and you can Google up these old photos of him. Sure. He's done a full salad rebuild. Like he's done a full hair revamp on his head. So if you see him even back in the day, I think he was at like doing his like master's degree or something. He actually went to the University of Queens, eh?
Oh, yeah.
And there's like a photo of him in front of a computer, I guess, when he was co-founding PayPal or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's basically bald. And that was like fucking 12 years ago. And you see him now, he's got a full on mop up top. So he clearly went to, Turkey or whatever it is and got the special plugs that these like crazy follicle scientists have over there. And they were like, and he was like, I don't care how much it costs. You are giving me the newest upgrade with chestnut with auburn highlights right upstairs. Yeah. And he looks and he's
medium curl.
And he walks out to do his presentations about SpaceX feeling like a fucking G.
Yeah. Or like think about it. These rockets are going to space. Maybe he's mining for, space hair plugs or something insane. Or like maybe he's already made contact. And like, he's just like, how the fuck do you guys keep your hair so lush? And they're like, we got you.
Yeah, because maybe this whole time we were given a raw or steered in the wrong direction about these aliens. Maybe they're not these bald green Martians. Maybe they've got fucking full-on manes and they're hairy like a lion.
And it's only the bald ones that are coming to Earth because
They got exiled.
they were the only ones that had no hair. Yo, I know one thing is for sure.
Go.
We're going to fucking hop into the Would You Rather. Let's hit it.
Would you rather? Would you rather?
All right, folks, welcome to Would You Rather. I'm really pumped about this one because we got a guest. This is our first guest, and it had to happen on episode 10. So I want to introduce to the world Mr. Tony Tone. Tony, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Excited to be the first guest on the Fierce Kingz podcast. I've been listening to every episode. You guys are clowns, but it's fun for me. Keeps me entertained during work. I got it on the Google Home. My wife's listening too. Just laughing at you guys.
Well, listen, I have a really, really important question for you.
All right.
So hear me out. Would you rather take a shower in a busy gym with no flip-flops or work out in that gym in women's attire?
See, the thing is, I feel like you're trying to make this hard for me, but I don't wear flip-flops half the time in the shower anyways. So that's an easy one. I'll hit the shower with no flip-flops on. Normally, it's not even a would you rather.
Okay, so then let me hold on, Stu. Let me make it like a little bit more. Let's bring some detail in it.
Okay.
So this is a busy gym. All right. There's mans everywhere. All right. They're taking pee-pees in the shower. One guy had leg day. He puked. He straight up puked in one of the grates. Right. He's having a bad time.
All right.
Okay. Hold on. There's a guy who's also not wearing flip-flops in the corner. He's just got hit with a massive fungus attack recently. Okay. And he's bringing that into that room. Okay. Now, on the flip side, you have to wear like a sport bra and your guts hanging out. Okay. You got your hair in a ponytail because that's the look. And you just got the most insanely fly Lululemon yoga pants on. And, you know, your wieners hang out and about. If you got a big ass, everyone knows about it. And you got to hit 4 wheels on the bench press.
See, the thing is, what you've done there is you brought in the guy with the foot fungus. I'm not a foot guy. I don't like people's feet around me. I don't need them. I don't like. Stu knows this well. I'm an indoor having the shoes on person. Part of it's for the fashion sense. Another part of it is because I don't want to see your feet in my house. Leave your shoes on. I'll sweep and mop and clean later. I'm not a foot guy. So right there, I think I got to go women's clothing. And to be honest, if you're working out correct, like you're doing a good job, then your gut's not hanging out. Maybe that bra is supporting a nice pectoral area you've got. Maybe you've been working, like my calves are very important to me. And maybe those tight Lululemons just making the calves pop. So
maybe it's flattering.
It could be.
Guaranteed.
That's what I'm thinking, right? Is that it's actually helping out some of my situation. Like I'm a cyclist. We wear tight clothing and it's sort of like Spanx for men. Like sometimes I wish I could walk around with my cycling arm warmers on at all times because my biceps just look great. Because I don't have biceps. I'm not a bicep guy. But they look better when they're sort of constricted.
Oh yeah, I'm going women's attire any day of the week. Like, you have no fucking idea what those guys are doing in that shower. Like, pee-pee poo-poo might be the least of God knows what is going on down there.
Yeah.
Because especially, like, gym bros, they're up to some weird-ass stuff. You know, not saying in the shower, but outside of it, who knows what they're bringing in from outside. Not to mention the fact that shit, like, women's shit is comfortable. Like women's clothing, I mean, outside of like maybe like lingerie and stuff like that are wearing to be like sort of sexy and racy or whatever. But like, wearing women's clothing in general, like those Lululemons, I bet are comfortable as fucking shit.
Well, grown men, I used to work with the guy, and I guess he was pretty fashionable, I suppose. And he would like tell me about his shopping stories. He's like, yeah, these are women's jeans. they're beautiful jeans. They fit me perfect. And I'm like, there's a whole market out for here. So, and Tony, now that I'm thinking about it, like, we've all been to the gym before. There was a time we were all working out real hard, right? And there was those guys that are wearing like shred shirts, right? And that's not a shirt. That's literally like it's like a thong. It's a triple XL thong that you put around your neck.
It's a cloth. It's just like a toga.
Arnold did it too.
It's like a toga. Like,
you're almost trying to show off. Like, if I'm some dad bod, maybe I'm a little more concerned that I can't wear baggy. But if you're saying I'm hitting the gym like I used to, I'm looking proper. Like, in a way, the sports bra and then the tight pants, if I got the right abs, that's like a picture frame for my abs, right? Like, if I've done the work I need to do, I did it. You got to do it in the kitchen too, because we all know abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But I've got the picture frame there. And Stu, I just want to jump back quickly on your comment. I'm not saying I'm going to do it because I know it's not socially acceptable, but I have a strong feeling, even as a man, a lace pair of panties would be nice and comfortable for an evening out. Like, we're in a space where we're just not there, and I know things are changing, gender fluidity and everything. But, like, I have a feeling if you were to throw on a pair of your girl's panties, and they're kind of soft and silky, and they got a lace, and they don't seem to have that same constricting level of elastic band, that you would enjoy it. It's really just society, man.
No, well, it's that, but I think it's also the thin element, like butt crack element. Like, if you're rocking a nice pair of panties, okay, like probably just a dream come true. But if you've got like a G-string and it's riding up your butt crack and you're just like constantly tugging at it because you're like, what the hell is that thing creeping up on me? They're probably not having any fun that day.
No, that's not a good time. You're right. Like, that's them purely for vanity and stuff. But I mean, there's other elements of lingerie that I think would be very comfortable for a man.
Now let me ask you a question. Do you think so? You're okay. So it happened. Forget the shower. You said I just cracked open the fresh pack. It came from Adidas.ca. Got my new sports bra. You know what I mean? Lululemon gave me some free samples. I'm hitting the gym. Do you think there's some girls in the gym and they're looking at you and they're saying, look at this idiot and what he's wearing, but then maybe they're starting to slowly get used to it and they're thinking to themselves, fuck, man.
Well,
this guy looks fire in those Lulus.
I'll hop in on this one because I guarantee you, if to Tony's point, where like you're looking fly, like you know, they always say the best accessory is a good body, right? So if you're looking dope and you're rocking all that shit, I actually guarantee you might flick a few switches for these ladies because they're like, look at the confidence on this guy.
Oh, that's true.
And if it's a warm day at the gym and you've got a good cucumber seam, they might say, holy shit, I'm really down with this guy. You know what I mean?
What do you say? You want to grab a protein shake after this?
Yeah, that's the thing. You're showing off, right? Like, if you're packing heat, there should be no concern.
You should be wearing yoga pants if you're packing.
Yeah, that's true.
Those people who aren't are doing themselves a disservice.
I mean, you could throw a cucumber or a big sock down there or something like that. But
you'll be found out easily.
Yeah, but if you're packing heat, you want to be going around. It's like the same thing. I remember we all three of us went to the same gym. I'm not saying that this was just about me, but I'm going to say it's about me. I was working at this gym pretty much every single day, and there was a lady there with some breast augmentations. And she was wearing, you know, just a sports bra.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I'd be sitting there doing my curls or whatever on the bench, and she would come straight behind me. And for maybe it's the only workout she liked doing, but she was doing as many bent over rows where my eyesight into the mirror was there as possible. And I'm thinking it's the same thing. She's thinking, I got these things. I put a little bit of money into it, right? Yeah, sure. This guy's here. Maybe she thought I was a good-looking young man or something like that. I'm going to let him see. I'm going to show off. So if you're packing heat down there, it's kind of the same thing.
Or I guess in which case, if you get a penis enhancement, then you might as well get a nice banana hammock and just get a towel underneath the bench press so you don't have your butt cheeks all wiping against it all sweaty. But you kind of, as you said, you get that kind of step over Captain Morgan stance, and you start to do some tricep kickbacks with your prosciutto just kind of going right down the inside of your thigh, and people are going to be like, damn, that guy dropped a few G's on that thing down there.
Yeah, and he's basically saying, this is me. Look at me.
This is me now.
Do you know what? Jeff Bezos definitely wears Lululemon tights. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to You Rotted. It's a segment where you guys can call in, send us your stories of times where you rotted. To do so, send an email to fiercekingz@gmail.com. You could also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You know we're trying to get those numbers up, so don't be shy. Today we got Tony. You heard him in the last segment. He rotted. You know he's rotted. He's got a rotted story. So Tony, just hit us with that story, man.
The story of when I rotted. So we got to go back a few years. I was working at a bar downtown Montreal called McKibben's. And we'll start. I don't want to take this too long. We'll just quickly start it off at the start, the first day. The first day I got there, I'm a nervous person in general. I'm nervous when it comes to work. We have this busy weekend. So on first time in my life, I'm starting to run food, starting to understand how to do it. And I grab, the first time I'm grabbing like 2 regular plates. Like it's like carrying it into your dining room or something. And I'm like shaking. Mm-hmm. I remember all the kitchen people said, a couple weeks later, they didn't think I'd make it more than a couple hours. So I looked like I was garbage. Anyways, I ended up working there for a while. Fast forward a couple years, confidence is built up. I've been there for a minute. I got the managers are loving me. I'm doing all the work. They give me, I'll say I give myself the title of head busboy, but essentially I was the head busboy. I was choosing the shifts that I wanted to take. I was kind of running things. I was really well organized. So my confidence was at an all-time high. Now, I think anybody in the service industry will know you're always sort of trying to impress yourself and impress others. And one thing for a busboy is what can you carry? So a lot of times you're trying to get there. Maybe you want a 3 stack of 2-4 to bring up to the bar. You want to see what you got. So I'm thinking to myself, next level, I got to get as many plates on my hands as I possibly can. I don't want to use a tray. That's for amateurs. I just want them stacked along my arms, caught in my hand. So there's an order comes in, 5 fish and chips. Now, the thing about the fish and chips is that they come on these long sort of, rectangular plates, very sort of unbalanced, but I am flying high with confidence. I could, like, if there was a busboy awards in Toronto, I'd probably be winning. Anyway, so I stack up 5 plates. I got 2 going in the right hand, one in the left, and then 3 on the right forearm coming up. Now, at the bar I worked at, the restaurants in the kitchens in the basement. So you got to come up these kind of narrow stairs. I'm steady. I'm feeling good. I've got it. 5 plates. They're even weird plates. I'm feeling confident. I walk out into the main sort of dining area. The table's sitting there. I'm about 2 feet away. I'm the head busboy at McKibben's Irish Pub on Bishop, downtown Montreal. And I don't remember if I stumble, if I just lost my nerve because it was too much stuff. And I just fall right in front of the table. 5 full plates of fish and chips just strewn about all in front of the customers, or poisson frites, because we're in Montreal there. I forget if they were French Canadian or not, because they probably would have hated me even more. And I'm just standing there as basically every other staff member starts laughing at me. I look like a clown. I look like I've never busted a day in my life. I look like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm there. You got to go to the back. I got to get the broom and the dustpan and sweep it up. And then the worst part always is you got to walk downstairs to the kitchen with your tail between your legs and say to the chef, I just dropped all the plates. I'm going to need 5 more fish and chips.
Well, isn't that so classic though? Like, as you said, you're flying high, you're feeling good, you're acting brave, and you totally bungle the whole thing. And probably on many other days, you probably actually could pull it off. But it was just that exact situation where you're already got the fucking adrenaline going and the clout's going, and you're going, oh man, I'm the number one busboy here. I'm the top dog.
I'm head busboy.
Take a look at my Jeff Bezos wiener, and then kaput. You just drop every fucking plate right in front of these people, and they're like, this guy is a fucking total idiot. Then you go on down, and then you know that the kitchen staff is dead. Like they're just like, they actually don't even mind making the plates again, just in case you might fucking drop them again.
Well, so I've had something similar happen to me. I worked at a restaurant, and the good thing is that you weren't under the influence or anything like that, or you didn't, you know what I mean? Like you weren't doing something like, inappropriate. It just, you fucked up, you spilled and you rotted. You know what I mean?
It was my hubris. I flew too close to the sun on wings made of fish and chips.
Yeah, exactly. Once I had like, cause everyone, you're the only break in a restaurant is if you go for a cigarette, a quick dart ski, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'll never forget, I was working at this restaurant and I went out, I'm like, I got 1 minute, 20 seconds before these dishes come out. And if you're smoking a Belmont, you can really rip one. Yeah. The problem with that is you come back in, you get hit with the head rush, and I picked up the 3-4 plates, picked them up, had to go up a staircase, Christian bailed, and fucking same situation with me. Went back to the kitchen, but they were pissed because they're like, look at you fucking powering darts in a minute and getting head rushes. You're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and more often than not, as you know, my time was relatively brief in compared to the two of you, but as we all have been some sort of service industry employee, like let's cut the shit here. Like people are fucked up at those places 24/7. So like it's even a miracle that you weren't mashed and then that happened. Or maybe, who knows, maybe if you were mashed, you would have been spinning it on your fingers like you were the Harlem Globetrotters or something.
Yeah, probably. Like the thing, it's like pool, right? Like when I learned how to play pool, I was always half cut, right? 3 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
And then, as you guys know, I sort of don't really hit the bottle too hard now. So now I go play pool and I'm, half a Bud Light in, and it's like I've never shot a cue before or something. Because it's like my muscle memory or something is like when you got to be messed up or I don't know, my confidence or like the anxiety for whatever it is. So I'm sure had I been cut while I was doing it, I might have actually been better because I would have just been sort of floating through, cruising instead of sort of, I don't know. There's a lot of different situations that could happen there, but and fortunately for me, it was a full house, so everyone saw.
Now, do you think that there's such thing as busboy memory? Like that was probably a decade ago, but let's say, it's like that scene from Seinfeld. You have that flashback and you're just in that moment. You find yourself in a basement kitchen in some pub in a year from now somehow. And they're like, we have 5 fish and chips. Tony, you're our only hope. Mm-hmm. Do you think that your brain would be like, all right, we've done this before. It didn't work out, but we've been in this situation. Is it that busboy muscle memory in the forearms? Does that exist?
I think it does. I mean, I don't know. Like that's the 5 plates. We can have other former busboys check in, and maybe they were hot shots doing 6 or 7. But the 5 plates to me is tough. And I just want to remind people these aren't round plates. These were really narrow rectangle plates. Like maybe you have like 4-inch wide by, I don't know, 9-inch long or something, 10-inch long. Like they weren't. The balance was off, but like 5 is tough. So I think even that might be off, but like I haven't worked there in 10 years, but you want me to tap a keg? You need me to, a bunch of stuff. Like you know how many chairs I could probably still stack? I haven't stacked chairs in a decade.
How many cigarette butts can you sweep?
Oh, you have no idea. You kidding me?
Okay, but let's try to drop a little bit, like, or decode a little bit of the mechanics of this, right? Because so I know exactly the plates that you're talking about. The long white, ovals. No, the rectangles with the rounded corners, like slightly rounded, but pretty much almost completely rectangle. So you've got, because we all know that when you're doing the standard, when you're doing the rounds, you've got the sort of 3-finger lower Then you got the the thumb and the pinky that are kind of higher, and then you've got the forearm action. So what was your balancing technique? Because I'm trying to do this mechanics in my fucking head, and I'm like, that means you got a couple going horizontal, or a couple, you got one going parallel, one going perpendicular. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that. The whole thing looks like chaos. Sounds like chaos.
It sort of is, but so like in the right hand where I got the two, like you said, kind of in that, the pros out there, the bus boys know, the food runners, the waitresses, the waiters, they know like you get this kind of grip where you can sort of hold two and it sort of balances. And based on the shape of this, it was sort of almost in like a chevron kind of V shape. And then the one in the left is just standard, just holding it. Now I'm a pretty tall dude with fairly gangly arms. So I just got a lot of room on the forearm. And although these were things, they were rested, they were just resting on the forearm. I was just balancing, right? I looked like the elephant on the ball with the plate spinning, and I was just balancing there. And I think, again, like it probably was a bad idea. I probably should have gone for a tray. But I think I just got to this point. I was intoxicated with my power as being the self-proclaimed head busboy.
It's a learning experience. And
so I just thought I can do what I want to do. I got this.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is, you rotted, and that's a rot. So there's no two ways about it. But let me ask you, what happened afterwards? You spoke to the busboys, the kitchen staff. They may have laughed. One guy was pissed for sure. He was probably in the fry station or something like that. He was just like, I'm slammed now. I was slammed with that order. Now I'm triple slammed. You know what I mean? He's just like, he's in the front because fish and chips is double fryer.
Oh man, it's
so he just finished those and has to redo them on top of the other chips or chits in priority.
He was thinking about giving this guy a fryer dunk.
He was just like,
just grab his head. Yeah, just grab his head and have the fish and Tony. And just fucking put his fucking melon in that greasy oil and burn his face off. Because he was like, because you know what he was doing. I can picture the dude in my head too. And he's got the cages going, and he gave that the look over, and was like, and then you hit him, you slap him with the cheese, and he goes.
He probably quit that night.
No, he wasn't buying you a beer. That's for fucking goddamn sure.
Okay, but
yeah,
Tony,
I think I made sure to buy him a beer.
Oh yeah, you probably fucking bought the whole place a beer. What happened after? So you were like, was the confidence lost? Were you still head busboy? Like, how did it all finish afterwards?
So I was still head busboy. Again, I was sort of self-proclaimed. Like there were some like real inklings to it. Like it was no official title, but like I was really in there. Like I was cemented. I'd been there a long time. I was important. Like they needed to be on all the hard shifts. Like all the nights, need to be in the juice and stuff. So, I definitely shot my confidence in terms of that. Like, I think I went back to using trays a little more often if I was going maybe above 3 or 4 plates, depending on the plate shape.
Yeah.
But, like, in terms of the kitchen, like, fortunately for me, I don't know what's like everywhere, but at the bar I was at, the fryer guy was always usually pretty new. And like you said, like, this was a fryer-only meal. Right? Because there's no garnishes, there's no whatever.
Maybe a little coleslaw on the side.
I don't even know if they had coleslaw. And if it was like it was like in a little ceramic.
Ziggy's. They had some Ziggy. They just
something like
and
that.
They slopped it on in one of those small little like creme brulee kind of cups.
Oh
Yeah.
I think that's probably what it was. But so fortunately for me, when I went down, the people who sort of matter in the kitchen who've been there for a while, have any power, they're just cracking up, right? Because it doesn't matter to them because they're on the burgers, they're on the the entrees,
Saute.
the main stuff. They're sauteing. They got the salamander going, all these pieces. So the fryer guy is definitely pissed, but he has no power over me. So in terms of the kitchen, I got no concern with these people. I'm thinking a little bit about my confidence, and I'm thinking about what happens if it was caught on camera, which it probably was. Is everyone going up to the office after the shift to watch me on camera fall, those who missed it? Because I would tell just a quick story. I know we don't have a lot of time. Quick story. There was a busboy there who, I don't know, he was okay. He wasn't super well liked, but like he was all right. Anyway, so everyone used to go into the back of the fridge and steal cake, pull out the cake and like cut a little slice and like eat it and stuff. And for whatever reason, like most of the time didn't care. This guy never tried to do anything balls in. That one time, late night, kitchen's closed. He goes in, pulls out the cake, cuts himself a slice in sort of view of the camera, eats it. And the manager, to sort of punish him essentially, which is sort of unfair because I think I had done it. And the manager would have known. Basically was, instead of getting mad at him, was to shame him. So basically just every time someone new walked in for their shift, the manager said, come up to the office, and everyone's seeing what's going on. And then it's just a video of this dude eating away a piece of carrot cake that he cut himself at the end of the shift the night before. And it was just a rolling thing. And so when he walks in, everyone's just calling him carrot cake. And that was his nickname for like 2 years.
Oh, my Lord. Shit, man. Shit. Well, listen, just want to say congratulations. And the reason for that is because you rotted.
Thanks, man.
All right, folks. So that's it. That's episode 10 of the Fierce Kingz podcast. We want to thank you so much for all of your support, especially if you've been hanging around since episode 1. It means so much to us. And with that, Stu, just want to ask you, buddy, is there anything that you would like to say to our listeners?
I'd like to say thanks to the Rotted Man himself for joining us on this special occasion. And because now you are not listening to